Hi, thanks for coming to Garden Unwind. So today I'm talking about greenhouses, what they are, how they work, and why you might want one for your garden. So I hope this helps you if you're thinking about getting one, building one. Greenhouses are a game changer in a garden. So what do I use mine for? One of the biggest things is hardening off seedlings. When you start seedlings indoors, you probably know, they need a period of hardening off before you put them directly into your garden. So many times what people will do is take them out and expose them to a little bit of sun each day, a little bit more each day. They'll stretch it out maybe to an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours the next day. And that way the seedlings can start getting acclimated to actual sun if they've been growing under grow lights, and also acclimated to the wind. But when you have a structure like this, you can just take your seedlings, put them in it for a week or two, and then put them out in the garden. They're fine because they're getting some filtered sun from the greenhouse plastic, and they also have wind protection, so it gives them that transition period that they need. I also love to use the greenhouse for winter sowing. Winter sowing is when you plant your seeds in winter in the cold, and they go through that they go through that cold stratification if they need it, if they're perennials, and that way you don't have to worry about putting your seeds in the fridge, or you don't have to worry about hardening off seedlings because they're tough, because they're grown in the winter. And you've probably seen on YouTube many people do this in milk jugs. They'll buy a clear container like a milk jug, and they'll cut it in half, fill it with potting soil, and then they'll plant their seeds, and then they'll tape it back up, and then they'll put it somewhere where it can get rained on, because then when the rain goes into the bottle, it waters it. Well, you don't have to do any of that when you have a structure like this. You can just simply plant in trays and pots and then water them as they need it. And you get the same result, but much easier. So I love this greenhouse for winter sowing. I also love to use it basically as a potting shed. It's a great place to pot in the springtime when it's cold outside. It's warm in here as long as it's sunny. And even in the fall, especially when I'm bringing in plants for the winter and I want to give them fresh potting soil, this is just such a lovely place to come. I also love to use the greenhouse for plant propagation, especially taking cuttings. When you cut off parts of the stem and you want to put them in soil and then they grow roots. Well, those cuttings, usually you want to put them somewhere sheltered where there's not too much wind or too much sun blazing on them as they grow into strong plants. So this is a great place to put them for that. Also, when you take divisions, if you divide up a plant a lot and you want to give it time to grow nice roots, this is a good place to put those. I stick them into their own pots and then let them sit in this greenhouse for about 6 weeks, and then they're ready to be planted out into the garden. I did this with mini hostas and it worked great. When you have a greenhouse, you do want to be careful with ventilation and overheating. You want to make sure that you have doors that you can open up. If you're building it, I recommend putting doors on both sides. These are the back doors to the greenhouse. It's a Dutch door, so you can open it whenever you need some extra ventilation. If you buy a greenhouse, make sure it has options for ventilation. Sometimes they'll be on the roof. There's even ones that automatically will pop up when there's some sort of humidity sensor. They'll pop up when the greenhouse needs ventilation. Should you buy or build a greenhouse? Well, it really depends on your budget. If you can afford to buy a pretty greenhouse, go for it. I mean, there are plenty of beautiful ones that you can buy. Sometimes you can even have them delivered. You can get kits and put them together. As long as you have a nice level spot to put one, if you can afford to have someone level it for you, that's great. If you are in my boat and you don't have a ton of money, I do recommend building it yourself, because if you go to buy a budget greenhouse on Amazon, you're going to run into problems with wind and snow. The wind just totally tore up one that I bought off Amazon. The snow, it can't handle. So if you build one, you can build it nice and strong like this one, and then you don't have to worry about it going anywhere. This has been here for 4 years, and yes, it hasn't budged. We put T-posts in the ground 2 feet deep, and then we use metal zip ties to attach electrical PVC conduit, and it's strong. We're gonna do a video in detail, a tour, if you want to replicate this. Where should you put your greenhouse? This is a big mistake I see many gardeners make. They think more sun is more. In the summer, if you put it somewhere where you're getting morning and afternoon sun, you're not going to be able to use it in the summer at all. If you could find a place like this where you have deciduous trees on the west side, then you can have some shade in the much needed summer months. When the leaves drop off, I do have full sun from the morning to the afternoon when it's cooler out in the fall and the spring. And then when the leaves grow back on in the summer, it's a welcome relief because then I have that shade in the afternoon. So I can put plants in here, including cuttings, and they can have some shade and they really enjoy that. What size should you choose? Go big. Go as big as you can, because everyone that builds a greenhouse or buys a greenhouse wishes it was bigger. Because, you know, you always think, oh, it'd be nice to put a table and chairs in there and be able to sit in there and enjoy it in the winter. Well, to have room for that, you need way more room than you think. Because plants take up a lot of room. You're going to want to be pushing your wheelbarrow in here. That takes up a lot of room. So go big. I went as big as I could, which is 10 foot by 10 foot in my yard. If you have more room, I recommend going big. I do recommend washing your greenhouse once a year, whenever is convenient for you, because you do get buildup of dirt, and that you can get a buildup of dirt, especially if you have trees behind you like I do, and then that's just going to block the sun. So you want to keep the sun coming in. I use a microfiber mop with a mixture of vinegar and dish soap, scrub it off, hose it, and then you have light shining through. So I hope this helped if you're thinking of buying a greenhouse, building a greenhouse. There's a video coming soon, like I said, that will give you a tour of this and give you an idea of how you can build your own. So take care. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.